They told you the truth was hidden, that some knowledge was too dangerous for ordinary hearts to see. But what if the forbidden truth was not hidden from you? It was hidden within you. For centuries, the mystics whispered of a secret so profound it could shatter the illusion of this world. Ibn Arabi called it the awakening, the moment when the veil lifts and you finally see who you really are. Not just flesh and bone, not just a servant of God, but a reflection of the infinite, a spark of the divine, a mirror through which Allah beholds His own beauty. Tonight, the time has come. The truth they never wanted you to know is about to awaken inside you. They told you this world is real, that what you see, touch, and chase is all that exists. But Ibn Arabi whispered a truth so deep, most were not ready to hear it. The world is a veil, he said. People are asleep, and when they die, they awaken. Think about that. What if your life right now is just a dream within the mind of the divine? Every heartbreak, every victory, every desire, all of it, part of a sacred illusion meant to awaken you. You've been living thinking you are just a person, but what if you are something much greater? Ibn Arabi revealed that everything you see is a reflection of one reality. You are not separate from Him, you are His expression, moving through time and form. The pain you feel, it's not punishment, it's a message, calling you back home. The emptiness inside you, it's not weakness, it's the space where He waits to be found. So stop chasing the world that fades. Look inward, where eternity breathes. Because the moment you turn within, the dream begins to break, and your soul begins to awaken. Look deeper, beyond what your eyes can see. When you gaze at the sky, you are witnessing His vastness. When you watch the sea, you are seeing His depth. When you look into another's eyes, you are staring at His hidden reflection. Ibn Arabi called this the mirror of being, the sacred secret that everything in existence is a reflection of Allah's essence. He said, "The world is the mirror in which you see yourself, and yourself is the mirror in which you see God. Every tree, every stone, every soul you meet, all of it carries a spark of the same divine fire." That's why he declared, "Set my heart has become capable of every form, because the one who truly awakens no longer sees difference, only oneness." You are not a drop lost in the ocean. You are the ocean, taking the form of a drop for a little while. So when you feel alone, remember, the entire universe lives within you. And when you love another, you're really loving the face of Allah reflected back at you. They called His words dangerous, too mystical, too free. But Ibn Arabi never feared truth. He said, "Do not look for Allah in the heavens or on the earth. Look within your own heart." That was his forbidden message. That God is not somewhere far away. He is not locked in temples or mosques. He is within you, closer than your own breath. You don't need to chase Him. You only need to uncover Him beneath the layers of your ego. He is the silence when your thoughts fade, the light behind your eyes when you close them, the peace that comes when you finally surrender. But the world fears this truth, because once you know God lives within you, no one can control you again. You no longer worship out of fear, but out of love. You no longer beg for light. You realize you are asterisk, the light. And that awakening is the beginning of real freedom, the kind that cannot be taken away. Love. That's where Ibn Arabi's secret truly unfolds. Because while the scholars debated rules and the world argued about who was right and wrong, Ibn Arabi sat in silence and whispered, "Love is the origin of creation." He saw something others missed, that everything in existence was born from divine love. This universe, every atom, every star, every soul, all of it is a manifestation of Allah's longing to be known. He said, I was a hidden treasure, and I love to be known, so I created creation. That's the beginning of everything. Not fear, not punishment, not separation, but love. Ibn Arabi saw life as a sacred love story, the endless dance between the lover and the beloved. Allah is the beloved, and every soul is the lover, forever searching, forever yearning to return. Every desire you've ever felt, every pull in your heart, even your longing for happiness, it's not random. It's your soul trying to remember where it came from. It's the divine calling you home through the language of love. But here's what makes Ibn Arabi's teaching so powerful. He didn't speak of love like people do today. For him, love wasn't a feeling, it was being itself. He said, love is the most noble of states, for through it the lover and the beloved become one. To love, in the truest sense, is to dissolve the illusion of separation. It's to see no difference between you and the one you love, between you and the divine. When you truly love, you stop living from the mind, you start living from the heart. And the heart, Ibn Arabi said, has no boundaries. It can hold every form, every faith, every color, every soul. That's why he declared, my heart has become capable of every form. It is a pasture for gazelles and a monastery for monks, a temple for idols, and the Kaaba for the pilgrim. I follow the religion of love. Wherever its camels turn, their love is my religion and my faith. This wasn't set poetry, it was revelation. He was telling the world that true love is beyond religion, beyond nationality, beyond even identity. It's the state where all forms dissolve into the one reality that gave them life. To see Allah in everyone, even those who hurt you, even those you dislike, that is the real test of love. And only the awakened heart can do it. Ibn Arabi taught that love is not something you have. It's something you become. Because when you love, you are not separate from Allah. You are Allah's love in motion. The sun doesn't try to shine. It shines because it's the sun. In the same way, when you awaken, you don't try to love. You are love. And that love heals, transforms, and awakens everything it touches. That's why the mystics could smile through pain. They could lose everything and still say, Alhamdulillah, because they saw only the beloved behind every experience. The rejection they faced, it was His way of pulling them closer. The loss they endured, His way of stripping away illusion. Even suffering to them was not a punishment. It was the fire that purifies love until nothing remains but the beloved himself. Ibn Arabi said, the lover never stops seeking union, and the beloved never stops calling. That's the secret rhythm of existence, the pulse that beats through every life. Every dawn is the beloved calling through light. Every night is his whisper through silence. Every heartbeat is a reminder, you were made for love. But most people live asleep, thinking love is something to get from others, from the world. Ibn Arabi said, no, love is what you give, because it sits what you are. When you love with expectation, it becomes need. When you love with awareness, it becomes prayer. When you love without self, it becomes truth. To love in Ibn Arabi's way means to see Allah in everything, in the beauty of a flower, in the storm that destroys it, in the smile of a child, and even in the face of your enemy, because behind all appearances is the same divine face, the same beloved, playing every role in the drama of existence. This is why he was misunderstood, even hated, because when he said, there is no reality but God, people thought he was erasing religion, but he was pointing to its essence. To love truly is the highest worship. To see Allah in all things is the purest form of faith. When you love like that, you no longer live for God. You live through God. You become His reflection of mercy, His mirror of compassion, His instrument of beauty, and that sips the real awakening. When your heart burns so completely with divine love that nothing else remains, when the you who seeks disappears and only the beloved remains, loving through your eyes, breathing through your chest, speaking through your silence. That seps what Ibn Arabi meant when he said, "None loves God but God Himself," because in the end, there was never a you loving Him. There was only Him, loving Himself through the mirror of your soul. You think you are here, and God is there. You think you are small, and He is infinite. You think you are lost, and He is the one you must find. But Ibn Arabi looked beyond the veil of illusion and said, "There is nothing in existence but God." Let that sink in. Every tree, every breath, every face, every sound, all of it is the same divine reality, wearing countless masks. But the human mind doesn't see it. It lives in separation, dividing, labeling, fearing, and desiring. We say I and you, he and they. But these are illusions created by our limited perception. The truth is, the drop has never left the ocean. It only imagines itself as separate because it has forgotten what it really is. Ibn Arabi said, "The ocean does not leave the wave. The wave rises, dances, falls, but never departs from the sea." In the same way, you may rise in success, fall in failure, drift through life, sips storms, but through it all, you have never been apart from Allah. Your life, your thoughts, your heartbeat, every moment is a movement within the divine ocean of being. You are not a creature separate from the Creator. You are His breath, His expression, His living echo. But the illusion of separation is powerful. It makes you feel lonely in a crowded room. It makes you cry to a sky you think is silent. It makes you chase happiness outside yourself, through people, through money, through power, and yet, every time you reach out, you find emptiness. Why? Because you're searching for what was never missing. You're looking for God in the world, while He's been sitting quietly inside your own heart. Ibn Arabi taught that this illusion, the belief that you and God are two, is the root of all suffering. When you think you are separate, you fear. When you think you are separate, you desire. When you think you are separate, you fall into pride or despair. But when you awaken to unity, all fear vanishes, all desire dissolves. Because there's nothing left to seek, you realize, you were always it. He said, "He who knows himself knows his Lord." Not through books, not through rituals, but through awakening to the truth of your being. When you look deeply within and strip away everything that is not real, your name, your body, your past, your identity, what remains is pure awareness, pure being, pure light. That awareness is not yours. It is His. You don't have consciousness. You are consciousness. And that consciousness is Allah's presence, looking out through your eyes. Imagine the ocean whispering through every wave, saying, "You are not separate from me. You are me, taking shape for a moment." That's what existence is, God expressing Himself through infinite forms, so that He may know Himself in infinite ways. Your joy, your sorrow, your laughter, your tears, all are movements of the divine soul exploring its own reflection. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Whoever knows himself knows his Lord." And Ibn Arabi lived this truth. He said, "When I looked into my heart, I found no one there but Him." This is not arrogance. It's thus surrender. It's not claiming to be God, but realizing that there is no you apart from Him. Think of it like the sun and its rays. The ray shines brightly, but it cannot exist without the sun. It may travel far, touch mountains and oceans, but its source is never apart. In the same way, you are a ray of the divine light. You shine for a while in this world, but your source, your essence, remains one with Him. When the ray forgets its source, it fears the darkness. But when it remembers where it came from, it knows it was never lost. This realization doesn't make you special, it makes you humble. Because once you see the divine in everything, judgment disappears. How can you hate another when you see Allah in their eyes? How can you envy when you know the same? One is living through all beings. You stop fighting life. You begin to flow with it. Every experience, every encounter becomes a meeting with the beloved in disguise. Ibn Arabi said, "Between the servant and the Lord, there is no distance. For if there were distance, there would be no meeting. There is no distance, only perception. And when perception changes, reality shifts. You realize paradise isn't a place you go to. It's a state of being you awaken to. Hell isn't somewhere you're sent. It's the fire of separation, the agony of forgetting who you are. So how do you end the illusion? By remembering, by seeing the one in everything, by quieting the mind that says mine and yours, good and bad. When you walk, remember it is He walking. When you speak, it is He speaking. When you love, it is He loving through you. This isn't set metaphor. It sets reality. You are the instrument. He is the music. You are the reflection. He is the mirror. When the illusion finally breaks, something miraculous happens. You stop searching for meaning because you become the meaning. You stop asking, "Where is God?" because you realize you were never anywhere else. You stop fearing death because you know you were never truly born and you can never truly die. In that moment, silence falls inside you. Not emptiness, but fullness. The fullness of everything being one. You feel a peace that no words can describe, a love that has no opposite, and a truth that cannot be spoken, only lived. That is the awakening Ibn Arabi spoke of, the end of illusion, the return to oneness. And in that oneness, there is no you and Him, there is only Him, seeing, breathing, loving through you. So stop searching for God in distant heavens. Stop thinking you store far from grace. You have never left the ocean. You were never separate from the source. You are already home. There comes a point on every spiritual journey when words begin to lose their meaning. You can read 1,000 books, memorize 1,000 verses, repeat 1,000 prayers, but none of it compares to a single moment of true knowing. Not knowledge from the mind, but knowing that rises from the soul. The knowing that Ibn Arabi called the silence of realization. He said, those who truly know say nothing. Why? Because once you've touched the infinite, words become too small. How can language made of sound and symbol describe something that existed before sound, before meaning, before time? The mystic doesn't stop speaking because he has nothing to say. He stops because he has seen something that cannot be spoken. This is where Ibn Arabi's wisdom turns inward, into a realm beyond reason. He tells us that real knowledge of Allah does not come from thinking about Him. It comes from disappearing into Him. It comes when the I that tries to understand is finally dissolved in the light of what is in. He said, "Between me and Him, there is only me. Remove the me, and He is revealed." Think about that. The only veil between you and Allah is you. Your opinions, your attachments, your fears, your endless noise of wanting and resisting. You've built a wall of me, and behind it, the infinite waits in silence. When you stop speaking, stop arguing, stop trying to grasp life with your hands, that wall begins to crumble. And in the stillness that follows, you begin to feel what you could never understand. Ibn Arabi says, silence is not empty. It's full, overflowing with meaning that cannot be spoken. It states the silence of a heart so full of Allah that it no longer needs to ask, "Where are you?" It simply rests in the knowing that He is here. Imagine sitting beside the ocean. You hear the waves crash, the wind hum, the birds sing, and suddenly you realize all of it is saying the same thing. Asterisk, He is. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to prove it. You just know. That's what Ibn Arabi called the knowledge of presence, a knowledge beyond thought, beyond form. He said knowledge is not by words, it is by a light that God casts into the heart. That light doesn't come from study or from speech. It comes when the heart becomes still enough for the divine to reveal itself. When the noise of the world fades, when the ego stops shouting, "I am," then the whisper of eternity can finally be heard. And in that whisper, you discover something breathtaking, that the one you were searching for has been speaking through your own silence all along. When you quiet the mind, you begin to hear the voice behind thought, the subtle awareness that has always been watching, always present. That awareness asterisk is not you. That awareness asterisk is Him. Ibn Arabi called this the station of silence, where the seeker becomes the knower, and the knower realizes there was never a seeker at all, because the one who sought was just a shadow. The one who knows has always been the light itself. This silence isn't about withdrawing from the world. You don't still have to hide in mountains or deserts. It's about finding stillness within movement, peace within chaos. You can walk through a busy market and still be silent inside. You can speak to people, work, laugh, cry, and yet your heart remains untouched, grounded in presence. That's the silence Ibn Arabi meant. Not the silence of the tongue, but of the self. He once said, "Silence is the language of the real. All else is translation." When you reach that depth, every sound becomes His speech. Every glance becomes His gaze. Every heartbeat becomes His remembrance. And in that state, worship changes. You no longer pray to Allah. You pray as His reflection. Your words are not requests. They are echoes of His own desire to be known through you. In this silence, fear disappears. Because fear lives in the noise of what if. In silence, there is only what is. You stop worrying about the future or regretting the past. You begin to taste eternity, not as endless time, but as timeless now. You realize heaven and hell, past and future, are all happening inside the mind, but Allah is beyond time, and so are you. Ibn Arabi said, "The Gnostic is silent, for his speech is His speech." It means that once the self dissolves, whatever remains, every word, every movement, is Allah expressing Himself through that form. And that's why the mystic no longer claims anything as mine, not even wisdom, not even breath, because he knows I own nothing. I am nothing. Only He remains. When you enter this silence, even the need to understand disappears. You don't need to define the truth. You become one with it. You stop asking, "Who am I?" Because in that stillness, you see, there was never a separate I to begin with. There was only Allah playing through your form, thinking through your thoughts, feeling through your heart. You realize the divine has been living as you, waiting for you to notice. This realization can't be taught. It must be experienced. It's like trying to explain the taste of honey to someone who's never tasted sweetness. You can describe it forever, but only silence can deliver it. That's why Ibn Arabi urged the seekers, still your tongue, still your mind, still your desire, and let him speak through your stillness. When you reach that state, life becomes prayer. Every moment becomes dhikr. The rising sun is a verse. The falling rain is a mercy. The beating of your heart becomes the rhythm of divine remembrance. Hu, hu, hu. In that silence, even death loses its meaning, because the one who dies is the illusion, the me that never truly existed. What remains is awareness, pure, untouched, eternal. And that awareness is Allah's own light. It cannot be born. It cannot die. It simply is. This is the secret of Ibn Arabi's silence. Not escape, but union. Not emptiness, but fullness. It is the stillness where the river finally realizes it was never separate from the sea. It was the sea, flowing, moving, returning to itself. So if you ever feel lost, don't rush to speak. Don't rush to seek. Just stop, be still, let the noise fall away. And in that sacred silence, listen, because that is where Allah whispers the only truth that matters. You were never apart from me. You are my voice, my reflection, my breath. Be silent and know that I am. And then comes the silence before dawn, the moment when the dream begins to fade and the soul opens its eyes for the first time. This is the awakening. The point Ibn Arabi called the return to the real. After all the searching, all the crying, all the questioning, you finally realize you were never lost. You were never separate from Allah. You were never wandering through life trying to find him. He was the one walking, searching, longing through you. The seeker and the sought were always one. Ibn Arabi said, when you know yourself, you know your Lord. But this knowing isn't a thought, it's an explosion of recognition. It sets that moment when the veil drops and you whisper through tears, it was you all along. All the moments you felt abandoned, he was there, hiding behind your pain, guiding you through your darkness. All the times you begged for light, he was the light within your longing. Even your despair was a kind of prayer, his voice calling you home through the ache of separation. This is the mystery of awakening, the realization that there was never a you trying to find him. There was only him pretending to be you, so that he could experience his own love story, the journey from forgetfulness to remembrance. Ibn Arabi said, he who knows God sees him in everything. When you awaken, every breath becomes a verse. Every moment becomes worship. Every glance becomes a revelation. You no longer say, Allah is with me. You whisper, Allah is me, not as ego, but as existence itself. You see him in the sun and in the shadow, in the storm and in the silence. You see him in the laughter of children and the tears of the dying. You see that everything, even pain, even loss, is a note in the divine symphony, a melody composed by the beloved himself. And for the first time, your heart understands what peace truly means. Not the peace of a quiet life, but the peace of complete surrender. The peace that says, whatever happens, happens through him. The peace that knows every path, every trial, every turn, was perfectly written to lead you right here, to this sacred moment of awakening. You stop arguing with destiny. You stop fighting life. You realize that everything was mercy. Even the things that broke you were only meant to open you. Because cracks in the heart are how the light gets in. And the light is what finally reveals the truth. You were never the broken one. You were the breaking of illusion. The awakened soul sees with what Ibn Arabi called asterisk, the eye of the heart. And through that eye, everything is one. There is no longer you and the world. There is only the divine, playing both roles, the actor and the stage, the singer and the song. This is why Ibn Arabi said, "The cosmos is the theater of God's sips, self-disclosure. Every atom, every soul, every heartbeat is God showing himself to himself." You realize that all of creation is in a constant state of worship. The trees glorify him in silence. The rivers praise him in motion. The stars remember him in their shining. And you, your entire existence, is an unending dhikr. Every inhale whispers Hu. Every exhale sighs Allah. You don't need to force remembrance. You are remembrance. The awakening changes how you love. Before, you loved to possess. Now you love to dissolve. You love without fear, without need, without self. You love because it is your nature. Because Allah is love, and you are his mirror reflecting that love into the world. This is why Ibn Arabi said, "None loves God but God himself." It means that when you love, it is not you doing the loving. It is the divine loving himself through you. Your heart becomes the meeting place of heaven and earth. And through that love, the illusion of separation finally dies. But here sits the most beautiful secret. The awakening doesn't take you away from life. It brings you deeper into it. You still walk among people, still eat, still laugh, still work, but everything is different now. Because you no longer see the world as something outside of you. You see it as Allah Sip's reflection, and you yourself as part of that reflection. When you look at another person, you don't see them. You see a face of God looking back at you. When you look at nature, you don't see chaos. You see divine intelligence dancing in perfect balance. And when you look within, you no longer see the small, frightened self. You see the vastness of eternity shining through your heart. The awakened heart lives in two worlds at once. In the outer world, it plays its role. It speaks, acts, gives, receives. But in the inner world, it is silent, peaceful, untouched. It watches everything pass by, like clouds across the sky, knowing that the sky itself, awareness, remains unchanged. That is the secret Ibn Arabi tried to share. That awakening is not about escaping reality. It steps about seeing reality as it truly is, to wake up from the dream of separation and realize that the dream itself was divine. Even this world of opposites, pain and joy, gain and loss, life and death, is just the infinite playing with form. And once you awaken, you can finally smile through the storm, because you know that everything is God in disguise. Even the things that scare you, even the things that hurt you. You start to see love in every face, mercy in every moment, and purpose in every wound. That steps when gratitude becomes your natural state. You no longer say thank you, only for the good. You thank him for everything, for the delays, for the rejections, for the pain, because you see now that every one of them was a hidden doorway, leading you closer to the real. And slowly, the last illusion fades, the illusion of me. The voice that once said, "I am this," or "I am that," grows quiet, then disappears. What remains cannot be described, it can only be felt. It is pure presence, pure awareness, the light behind your eyes, the stillness beneath your thoughts, the peace that has no beginning and no end. That is you, and yet it sets not you. It is Allah, seeing through your sight, breathing through your breath, loving through your heart, and in that realization you bow, not out of duty, but out of awe. You whisper the only words left. La ilaha illallah. There is no reality but you. You have awakened. The dream has ended. The lover and the beloved are one. And now as you walk through the world, you don't look for miracles. You are the miracle. You don't ask for light. You shine it. You don't seek God. You reveal Him. For this is the final truth of Ibn Arabi Sep's forbidden wisdom. The goal was never to reach Allah. The goal was to realize you never left Him. You were, are, and always will be the reflection of His eternal love, the echo of His timeless be. And now, as the silence of the real fills your soul, you finally understand. Awakening is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of truly living. Because when the self dies, life, real, infinite, divine life, finally begins. So now you have heard what few ever dare to understand. Used to have glimpsed the secret Ibn Arabi risked everything to reveal that the journey was never about reaching God. It was about remembering that you were never apart from Him. The walls between you and the divine, they were only made of forgetfulness. And the moment you remember, truly remember, the entire universe bows with you in that realization. This is not philosophy. This is not poetry. This is awakening. It steps the silence after the storm, the light after centuries of sleep. It steps the moment your heart whispers, I was never searching for you. You were searching through me. So breathe. Feel this truth echo through your soul. You were never lost. You were never broken. You were only being written perfectly by the author of all things. Now walk in the world as the awakened one, with eyes that see Allah in every face, in every sound, in every breath. Because the greatest secret Ibn Arabi left us is this: you are not the seeker, you are the sought, and the time to awaken is now.